Hi, so this is our children's sew along today. We were going to do a live session, but the internet in our house is so bad. We figured if we did it, it was going to go in and out of signals. So we thought we'd pre-record this for you straight after our lunch, and hopefully it should be on by 2 o'clock. So fingers crossed that all works. So hopefully you've all downloaded the pattern. If you haven't, it doesn't matter. Ideally you have, because you've got the pattern pieces cut out, but if you haven't done that, then go to the website, download the pattern and get your pattern pieces cut out, because today on our first children's sew along we're going to be making a tote bag. Okay, hope you're all enjoying isolation and are keeping busy. We're well, I'll introduce you to Elsie, who, if you don't already know, is in isolation with me. I think Phoebe, you're in Elsie's class. If you're watching this, do you want to say hi, Phoebe?
Hi, Phoebe.
Okay, so Elsie's going to do this. I must remember the camera's there. Okay, Elsie's going to do the sewing today. I'm going to talk you through how we're going to do the sewing. This bag can be created with hand sewing. If you're okay with hand sewing, then brilliant. It's really hard to demonstrate that on camera, so I'm not going to show you how to hand sew, but I'm pretty sure some mums and dads out there will know what a running stitch is. So you need to thread your needle, tie a knot at the end, and you're going to be going in through the fabric and out through the fabric in a running stitch, and that will work just as well as a sewing machine. But if you are hand sewing, just try and make the stitches as small as possible, because that will keep the fabric together as tightly as possible. Okay, we're going to be demonstrating this on a sewing machine, so you can pause us, you can forward us, you can rewind us. So if you get stuck, just press the pause button and you can come back to it. But the most important thing to remember about sewing is that this is supposed to be fun. Sewing is something that we do as a hobby, to make nice things, to make ourselves, oh God, there's so many things that we can make from sewing. So don't get worried if you don't get it first time, or if you think it doesn't look right. It doesn't matter, because most things that I've made have got little mistakes in it that only I can see, but I seem to think it's the worst thing in the world. So just make sure that you're having fun when you're sewing. Right, we're going to start off with a very quick tip on the sewing machine. So if you are hand sewing and you want to forward this bit, forward it until you see me waving, and then you can pause it. All right, so I'm just going to see if I can just change the direction. Okay, I'm going to be hang on, zoom out a bit. There you go, darling. Right, let's move my cable out of the way. Right, so Elsie is going to demonstrate very quickly how to sew a straight stitch on the sewing machine. So, sweetheart, can you just show us where the lever is for the presser foot there? So, just around the side of the sewing machine, we've got a lever. If you put it up and down, you'll see your presser foot goes up and it goes down. Okay, so when we're sewing, we want that presser foot to be in the down position. Elsie is also sewing with, you can see some tape on my sewing machine. I've laid that out against, it's like 1/2 inch. So all sewing machines have got guides on the plate. I've marked it out so I can make sure my fabric is running nice and straight against that tape when sewing. And that is creating a seam allowance, okay? So if you sew, put your foot down on your on your foot pedal, and then if you just go ahead and sew a straight stitch. Okay, now Elsie's going quite fast and I've got a speed control, so she's just going to turn it down, that's it, to a medium speed, and then she's got more control over the fabric. Okay, darling?
Yep.
Right, so then the slower she goes, she can guide that fabric back towards the tape so that she's using a seam allowance. Okay, when Elsie gets to the end, I'm going to ask her to pivot round the corner. So she's going to stop about 1.5 centimetres from the end. She's going to lift the presser foot up, and the needle is in the down position. So without moving the needle, she's going to spin that fabric round, and you can see she's just going round the corner. If you're hand sewing, it's not too bad for you. You can just change direction with your sewing. Okay, darling? Okay, so Elsie has just pivoted round a corner. You're going to be doing this when you sew your straps together and when you sew the front of the bag to the back of the bag. Okay. Elsie, do you want to stop there? Okay, she's going to lift the needle up. So first of all, she's going to lift the presser foot, and then she's going to turn the. No, do you want to lift the needle up, darling? There's a wheel on the side of the sewing machine. Always turn that towards you, okay? And that will make the needle go up. And then she's going to cut the threads by pulling out the fabric. That's it. And there's a little cutter on the side of the machine. Okay, well done, darling. Okay, we're just going to do one more thing before we get sewing. If you've been on one of my after school courses, you'll recognise this, or my summer holiday courses. What do we do at the beginning and the end of a row of stitching?
Back stitch.
That's it. We do a back stitch. Now, if you're hand sewing, you will know that you, at the beginning of a row of stitching, you tie a knot, and at the end of the row of stitching, you secure your stitches with like a double stitch, and you tie another knot, and that stops your stitching from coming undone. Well, we do the same thing on a sewing machine, except most machines have got a back stitch button. So my machine's got one just there. That's it. So what we do at the beginning and the end of a row of stitching is that we sew forward a few stitches, and then we hold on to the back stitch button, we go back a few stitches, and then we let go. That's it, and then we sew a row of stitches as normal. And then what we're doing there, we're just locking the stitch, okay? Right, Elsie, let's pretend we've just got to the end of that row, and I want to finish that row of stitching. So I'm going to do a back stitch, back a few stitches, let go, and then we're going to sew. Okay, perfect. If you'd like to cut the threads, and we'll take that piece of fabric out. Okay, it's back to me quick. Oh, go close up. So what we've learned from that is your back stitch and your pivoting round corners. What we're going to do now is move on to making the bag. If you want to pause me at the moment, if you're using a sewing machine, and just have a bit of a practice on some scrap paper, some scrap fabric. Have a practice of doing your back stitch, so just a few stitches at the beginning and the end of a row of stitching. Have a practice at pivoting around the corners, and then have a break, maybe get a biscuit, and then you might want to start up again because we're going to make the tote bag. All right, oh, better wave. Hand sewers, we're going to get started on the tote bag now. Okay, what I've asked on the pattern to do is to start off the sewing is, and let me just film this. I'm doing this on an iPad. I haven't got a fancy camera like Joe Wicks has got. Just an iPad, so bear with. Right. So, we've got two main pieces of fabric that we've cut. Okay. What I've asked on the pattern is for a grown-up to help you. So at the top, so this is the wrong side of the fabric. This is your right side of the fabric. We're going with the glow-in-the-dark unicorn because it's pretty. Okay, so on the wrong side of the fabric, I've asked for a grown-up just to help you with the iron. If you feel like your grown-up can help you with the iron, then make sure you do it with supervision. But this bit's quite tricky because we just want to fold the top of each bag piece, the front and the back bag piece. We're going to fold it over by a centimetre, press it, and then fold it again another centimetre, and then press it. So basically you've created a nice straight seam across the front and the back. So this is your front bag and your back bag pieces. Okay, we're going to come back to that. So that was just a bit of preparation that we'd like help with from your grown-ups. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is we need to create the straps. So we have got 2 pieces of fabric cut out. So we've got 2 long pieces of fabric. Has everyone got theirs? If you're hand stitching and you don't want to do this step, or if you've got some lovely ribbon and you prefer to use ribbon, you can replace making the straps. You can use some what's called webbing. So you can actually buy some straps, it's called webbing, and it's used to make straps. Or you can use ribbon, or you can make them. So I'm going to show you how to make them. Okay, so first of all, this cable, right. In fact, I'm going to just unplug my cable. That's better. Okay, Elsie, I'm going to ask Elsie to show us how we're going to fold it in half, and we're going to place pins down the side. So, darling, if you do that. And I'm going to try and help if I just put the iPad down. Okay, so we're folding that long piece of fabric in half, right sides together. Okay. And we're going to put some pins all the way down. So when I pin, I put the pin in. So this is the edge that we're going to be sewing, the open edge. I put the pin in, and then I just push it up again. Okay, and that way we can sew along this line and we can whip those pins out just in time. Okay, if you've got some clips work just as well as pins. In fact, sometimes they're a bit easier. To help with that one? Yes. Okay. I hope your grown-ups are helping. Right. So when you've pinned all the way down one side, I'll just demonstrate. Okay. Can you see that? There you go. I'm just going to help Elsie with hers. All right. You go get me a chopstick. Second drawer down. I forgot to mention that. If you've got a chopstick or a knitting needle, you're going to need this when we finish sewing the straps to help turn the straps. They're perfect turning tools. Elsie? It's in the kitchen drawer. She's got in my office. Second drawer, black one. Anyway, have you all created your straps? So you're ready to sew these? Right. Don't worry if you can't find it, I'll have a look. Okay, so when we sew these straps, we're going to leave one end open for turning, and we're going to sew along one short end. So we're going to start, you want the open end on the right hand side, and we're going to sew across the top there. Okay, so across that short edge, pivot to the corner. So we just practice pivoting around the corners, and we really want to keep just a centimetre seam allowance if you can. So sometimes I use just the edge of the presser foot as a guide, but a small seam allowance. So we're going to sew across here, stop a centimetre from the end, pivot that strap round, and we're going to sew all the way down that long end. Okay, and when you get to the bottom, do a little back stitch, and we're going to leave the bottom end open. Right. So Elsie's positioned. Got so well done. Just going to stop a centimetre, that's it. And she's going to spin it round. And then she's going to sew all the way down the bottom and she's going to leave the end open. That's it. I'm going to whip that pin out. Okay, can you see how as Elsie goes down, she's keeping the fabric nice and straight against the edge of the presser foot, and she's just getting those pins out just in time. Right at the bottom, she's going to do a back stitch, so she's going to go backwards a few stitches. Let's go. That's it. Well done. And then she's going to cut the threads. That's it. Okay, that's one strap piece sewn. Then I'm just going to grab the next strap. Okay, and if you are hand sewing, you can do this bit by hand. It might just take a little bit longer, but we've got all the time in the world, haven't we?
Yep.
Can you see how the edge of the fabric is just running along the edge of that presser foot, and that's keeping a smaller seam allowance. That's it, just keep it nice and straight. Don't worry if you go wiggly, it really doesn't matter. Some of the best projects are the wiggly ones, they make them unique. Here we go, we're at the end of the strap. Well done. Back stitch. Perfect. Okay. Yes, well done. So you've got your two straps, both with an end open. Elsie, can I just ask you to hold this whilst I go get a chopstick? Just hold it on there for 2 seconds. Okay, Elsie, can you film me doing this bit?
Okay.
Right. Right, so the next stage, this is where you might need your grown-ups to help. You can try it yourself though. Like we said, we've got all the time in the world. So we're going to turn the straps using a chopstick. It's a bit fidget first. You might find licking your fingers, which we can do because we're in our houses. Obviously we can wash our hands straight away. Okay, you want to get the closed end and put your chopstick on the closed end, and then you can just pull, once it gets going, you can just pull that fabric down over. So now the chopstick is going inside that tube, and really you can be quite firm with it. You're pulling that all the way through. There you go. That's a little trick on how to turn straps. Then use your chopstick just to poke the corners. And then we're going to do the same with the other one. Is that close up, Elsie?
Yeah.
Right. So we've got that closed end. I'm going to get the chopstick, pop it over that closed end, and just wiggle the fabric so it goes over. And then once it does, we're just pushing that all the way down. Like I said, be a bit firm, and then we can poke those corners out using the chopstick. Okay, once you've got your straps, again, this is the last bit where we need grown-ups' help. We just want to give them a quick press. Oh. Just get past. Right, so the iron's quite hot. We're just going to give them grown-ups. If you can just pull those seams out a bit. Okay. Right. Okay, so got your two straps, lovely and ironed, and we're now going to attach them to your bags. So I'm going to take the iPad back with Elsie. Oh, what's happened to the colour? Oh, I've got it back. Right. So the next stage is going to involve some maths. Not really, you just need a little ruler. So we've got the fold, do you remember at the beginning we had a folded edge? We're going to measure in from your folded edge 5 centimetres. So, okay. So, oh, I've got a ruler, thanks Elsie. Yeah. So you can see I've just put a ruler along the top, and I'm going to get the raw edge of one of my straps. Turn it, sorry, you want the right side facing up. No, you don't. Right, 5 centimetres in. Sorry, just 1 second. Elsie, can you just hold the iPad for me? So I'm struggling with one hand. Just keep filming there. Okay. If it allows that I'm allowed to have a memory blank, I think so. Right, right side's facing up. That's easier. Now I can concentrate. Now I've got 2 hands. You're going to measure 5 centimetres in. Right, so if you've got a right or a wrong side, just make sure that your best side of your strap is facing the best side of your bag. So we're going to line this up 5 centimetres in, and we're going to pin. And I'm going to put a couple of pins to stop it wiggling. And we're going to do the same with the other edge of your strap. We're going to measure 5 centimetres in. So can you see that the edge of your strap is against 5 centimetres in? Okay, there you go. So we've got both of those straps pinned in place. We're going to do this for the other side. Oh, it's under my computer. You're yawning, Elsie. Okay, sorry, I've got this back to normal now. Right, so we're going to measure 5 centimetres in from the edge. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Okay. We're going to pin the rough edge against the right side of the fabric. Okay. So that's 5 centimetres in. Align the raw edges. And place a pin. And again, there. Okay. Right, we're going to sew these in place. Okay, can you see that? There you go. I'll take over the filming. Okay, Elsie's going to sew these in place. Yep, so if you put that, that's it. Just sew the straps in place, darling. See. Okay, so you can either just, if you're hand sewing, you can just hand sew these straps. You don't have to sew all the way across if you're hand sewing. You might just find it easier if you're machining, just to quickly nip it all the way across to get these straps held in place. And obviously I had a bit of memory blank when pinning the straps. I blame that on being indoors all day. But the right sides of your straps are against the right side of your fabric with the raw edges, so those rough edges aligned. Okay, so that's one done. Okay, you don't have to worry too much about the back stitch there, darling, because it's just holding the straps in place. Okay, so lift that one up. That's it. Okay, and then the other one. Whilst Elsie's sewing the other one in place, I'm going to show you what we do then with the straps. So Elsie's going to do exactly the same. She's just going to sew those straps down. So now your straps are facing downwards. What we want to do is for them to face upwards. You can carry on, darling, you can sew that. So you're just going to fold. So where you've just done that row of stitching, you'll see it will then fold down and your straps will go up. Okay? And then we're going to just sew that in place with the machine. So we're going to do one more row of stitching along there. Just going to grab some pins. can probably do this with two hands. So I'm using one hand because the other one's holding the iPad. Okay. I'm just pinning that in place. With one hand, it's tricky. Has anyone been watching Joe Wicks do his PE? Joe Wicks has been doing press-ups with one hand because he's got a broken hand. It's like me here. Well done, darling. Okay, so that's both done. Elsie, can you just hold the iPad for me whilst I just show this bit? So I've just pinned along. Oh, that's easier, two hands. So there's the straps. I'm just going to fold that down. So Elsie's just sewn that. If we fold it back down to the raw side, then our straps are now in place, which is great. Okay, so Elsie's just going to quickly run the last row of stitching. In fact, I'd better. She's going to sew all the way across, all the way down here, and the same on this one, all the way across to hold those seams in place. All right, darling? If you have got any pins lying around, just be careful you don't drop them on the floor. I've got a magnetic pin holder. I'm just going to pick them up. Done. Just mind those pins if they've been pinned a different way. Oh. Yeah. Mind your fingers, darling.
Do I do this?
Yeah.
Oh.
Has it got stuck?
Yeah.
Oh, it was the threads just got caught. There you go. That's it. Okay, that's it. Okay, so that's that one. And we'll just do the same for this one. I've pinned the pins on the outside of this one, so it'd probably be better to sew that way round so that you can get the pins out.
You'll be better at this.
Okay. You'll be able to get the pins out.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, so probably best to pin from the wrong side. I did this one wrong, so I've made it a bit tricky for Elsie. But she's okay, she's dealing with it.
Yep.
Okay. Else you might just want to move your seam allowance in, move the needle so it's a little bit further in. You're gonna, okay. That's it, just steer it. Careful not to catch that strap. Well done.
I nearly sewed over that pin.
Oh, did you?
I nearly did. Oh, it's doing itself.
Sometimes these machines have got a mind of their own. It's all right. That's it. That's it. Well done. Okay, lift the needle up. We can cut those threads. Okay. I'm just going to hand the, well done,
Okay.
iPad back to Elsie. Last bit of sewing. And then this will be uploaded hopefully in time for 2 o'clock today. Right, so you're watching. Okay, so you can see we've got the 2 pieces. We've got the straps facing up. You've got your lines. So the last bit to do is to sew the front to the back. So we're going to put the right side, so your pretty side is the right side of your fabric. Right sides together. And we're going to pin. We're going to sew all the way down one side, across the bottom and all the way up the top. So I'm just going to put a few pins, we don't need loads. I've got 1, 2, 3 down that side. I think we'll just do a couple of pins across the bottom. And then a couple of pins around the side. Right, can you see this? Okay, we've pinned all the way across. We need to remember, what do we do when we get to the bottom corners? Pivot. Okay, we're going to sew down to the bottom, stop just before the bottom, about 1.5 centimetres, pivot at that corner, go across, pivot at that corner and go up to the top. What do we do at the beginning and the end of a row of stitching?
Back stitch.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to take over filming.
Oh, you put a pin right at the start.
Oh, you can take the pin out. There you go.
That's not helpful.
Okay, sorry.
Should I start on it?
Yeah, so start with the back stitch. Think about the seam allowance that you're using. Don't worry about those threads. Just take the pin out. That's it. Mind your fingers. Okay.
No. What was going to drop it?
Hand sewers. This is a lot of sewing, but it will be so it will be really rewarding when you've finished and you can say that you've put all of your love into making your bag. Right, stop, pivot around the corner. That's it. Well done. Remember to pivot around the corner. Oh, that's it.
Yay, last side.
Just going to pick that pin up before the dog gets it.
No, Nico's in your room underneath the table.
Oh, is he? Okay. Just watch your seam allowance, darling. That's it. We're nearly at the end. Put your pin cushion near you and then that way it makes sure that the pins don't end up on the floor. That's it.
Yes.
Can you get to the end to do a back stitch. Get as close to the end as you can. Wind those fingers. Okay. Well done. So this is where the bag really takes shape. I'm going to pass Elsie the chopstick. You can help if you turn it the right way out. Okay. That's it. And then poke out the corners.
Just use my finger.
Elsie is modelling a skirt that she made on our after school club. Okay, that's it. You done? Turn it, show us what you've made. That looks great, darling. Yay! So have you all finished your bags? I hope you have. Well done, I love it.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Okay, so there you go. We have a finished tote bag. Okay. Oh, bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching this. They're not easy to put together. I'm going to try and do some more of these for the isolation so you all get to try something different. Please give me some feedback. It is difficult when you haven't got a tripod or the technology to get these videos, so I do apologise for the wonkiness, but we'll get there. But I think what's important is that you're trying something different. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect, but we're doing something different, learning some new skills, and we're happy. Okay, so hopefully I'll see you next week for another project. Take care, bye.